It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
Hey, let's go. Tuesday show, November 14, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com if you're watching live or the Fox local app. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. Helps YouTube push our content out to more people, so we would certainly appreciate that. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Right, Ermanni, good afternoon indeed. Feeling better than I did yesterday. Feeling smooth, feeling good. Woke up, got a visitor this morning. My niece playing with my phone. As it showed you my text thread. It's a bunch of random gibberish, if you will. When I send to people, I had my friend call me last week. Said, man, you all right? You straight? I said, bro, what are you talking about? It's 11 in the morning. I'm good. He was like, look at your last text message to me. I checked my text message. He's like, goo goo gaga, goo goo gaga. So, yeah, she's playing with the phone. That's a new thing. But feeling good. And I bring it over to Tom Mazaway. How are you doing this afternoon?
I just love this weather.
Yeah.
It's a great day today.
I'm in love with this weather. I drive with the window down. I got my music on. I'm happy. I'm happy.
And you look happy
My
today,
wife's talking
Maz.
to me again.
Yeah?
Yep.
What was the difference maker?
I sent her flowers yesterday to work.
And you said, I'm sorry,
I said,
honey.
I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. I didn't know really that I had to be sorry, but I was sorry for something. So, Kathy, I'm glad you're back on the team again.
There you go.
Did you see the Instagram video I sent you yesterday? It's a cartoon skit. It was a guy's stick figure cartoon. It was on Instagram yesterday. Guy walks in, knocks on the door. Guy opens the door, and it's a guy trying to rob. He breaks in the house. He's robbing the husband and the wife, and he's like, "Give me everything you got. You give me everything, or I'll take your life." And the guy just starts saying, I don't have a life. You know, I wake up at 6 a.m. I'm getting yelled at by my wife. And it was just this long, drawn-out thing. And eventually the guy puts the gun down and gives him a hug. He starts crying on the shoulder. And then the husband walks out the door with the robber, leaves the wife tied up.
That
was
is
very funny.
great.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, that sounds like life.
It's on your phone, so check it
All
out.
right, I will.
Guys, coming up in about 30 minutes from now, we'll be joined by Jamie Morris, former Michigan great NFL vet, host of the M Zone on WTKA. Jamie Morris will join us to talk football with the Michigan Wolverines, talk Jim Harbaugh, the NCAA, maybe a little ESPN as well with Jamie Morris. So we'll be looking forward to that. We'll do that in about 30 minutes from now. Also going to get into the Lions. There is so much to talk about with this football team, including how great, really, and I don't use that word loosely, how great this offense has been. The single most important person to that offense we'll talk about. But I do want to start with what we saw on the field last night on Monday Night Football. The Buffalo Bills appear to be dead on arrival. Braylon, I will give you credit for this because you called this even before the season started, dating back to last year and looking at the offseason and looking at some of the controversy, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, and just the lack of creativity in training camp. And it has spilled out onto the field through 10 games now. The Buffalo Bills look totally dead, and after last night, fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, it's not shocking that they fired Ken Dorsey. I think the big thing that everybody is talking about when it comes to the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott is, Maz, ever since the 13 seconds, your favorite 13 seconds, I'm obviously trolling right now, but the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, they have not been the same team since that moment.
That's a fact.
They have not been the same team since that moment. Last year, Brian Daboll takes the job with the New York Giants, and you just see it fall even another step further back. I think Brian Daboll kind of was the thing that allowed Sean McDermott just to focus on defense and not have to worry about the offense. Now there's no Brian Daboll. Josh Allen's playing hero ball, essentially. Like, every play, he's trying to make a 45-yard run and jump over somebody,
he's
trying
like
to make the
Favre.
Hail Mary throw. Exactly. But the problem is he's not as good as Brett Favre. He's not as good as Brett Favre was. So I think eventually, no running game last 3 years. The same problems that they've had, Ryan Ermanni, are still the same problems that they have. They don't have a running game. They don't have a way to just get Josh Allen to take the available throws. Everything has to be a 70-yard completion or some highlight play. So it was only a matter of time, and Sean McDermott is next on that hit list.
And what a way to lose the game, too, Maz, for the Buffalo Bills. Will Lutz misses a field goal at the end of regulation, but hold on, everybody. There was a 12th man on the field for the Buffalo Bills defense, so a flag was thrown, and Will Lutz, a former kicker for the New Orleans Saints, got another look at it and drilled it right down the middle. That 12th man, by the way, DeMar Hamlin.
Wow.
Penalized.
He got in last night for the first time on defense since the accident, since the near tragedy. He's been playing on special teams here and there. He's been inactive. But last night he got in the fourth quarter. They were down a couple of D-backs. They put him in there. He held his own. But obviously that's a coaching thing, man. And that's a kid that is not used to being out there right away again. So, Bray, I'll leave that to you. That's got to be on the coaches. And it cost Ken Dorsey his job. It's probably not Ken Dorsey's fault.
Well, the offensive coordinator, it's not the offensive coordinator's fault to have the defensive player out there, but put it on the defensive coordinator.
It's a deep-rooted problem with the Bills. The Bills are 5-5 now, and 4 turnovers.
They're just not a well-coached team overall.
100. They're just not a well-coached team overall. So, yeah, it's not. It is on the coach, special teams coach. Look, that situation happened to us. Michigan State game, the infamous clock game. We had 12 men on the field. They get another crack at it. They throw a touchdown to T.J. Duckett. That's on the coach. That was on Terrell Austin. That's on the special teams coach. They're just not having good coaching play. We saw the writing on the wall when Ken Dorsey lost his mind in the press box last year. Was slamming the surface everywhere and clearing things out like he was Tom Brady. Like, the writing has been on the wall even before training camp. Stephon Diggs, you saw how he ended the season last year. They just had no game plan in the playoffs. No game plan. Stephon Diggs calls it out, maybe not the best way to do it. And then when he comes back to training camp, it's the same thing, and that's why he left training camp. And now you're seeing they're just not a good team. Since Josh Allen's been in the league, he has 8 games with 4 or more turnovers. Like 4 or more turnovers in 8 games. It's just not good football, and it stems with the coach. I think Josh Allen, he needs another offensive coordinator, and they need another head coach. I think Josh Allen definitely has talent, but he's a guy that needs it to be cultivated. He's not a guy that can figure it out for himself. Didn't play much high school ball and didn't play much in the college level in terms of D1 promising schools. He went to Wyoming, so they got to get a better coach in there and figure this thing out, because now the defense. That was the thing that helped. That was the thing that always held them together. The defensive play. They were number 1 in the league 2 years ago, number 2 in the league 3 years ago, floating around that same 3 years ago. They're not even that anymore. So now that you don't have a defense playing well, and your offense has no running game and is playing hero ball, you're bound to lose games. I mean, they lost to the Jets at the beginning of the season when Zach Wilson played the whole game. Let that sink in.
Hey, prior to the field goal being missed, they had a pass interference on 4th down, where Russell Wilson was ready to get sacked and just threw up a prayer, and it was to Cam Sutton.
Cortland Sutton.
Sorry. I always get the Suttons wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the Bills guys lost the ball, and he kind of ran into it. Really was probably not interference, but they called it, so they get a chance to do it. And the reason, Ryan, that they had 12 men on the field is Denver didn't have a timeout. So instead of clocking the ball and bringing them out, a kicker nice and slow with the clock stopped, they did literally a fire drill. They kept it going. They 3rd down, he kneeled down, outruns the special teams, because they did it at the end of the first half, and they did it to end the game.
Yeah.
They ran. That was smart coaching by Sean Payton. Let me tell you something. The Denver Broncos have just beat the Chiefs and the Bills. And I know maybe not the Bills aren't the same, but they're on the road for both those games. They win both those games. They are playing a lot better. Their defense has given up 15 points a game on an average in the last 6 games.
Denver's won 3 in a row.
Denver is going to be trouble.
They've gone from 1-5 to 4-5 in the last 3 weeks.
It's going to be trouble when they come in here in a few weeks. They're a much better team than they were.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where Sean Payton, he's cleaning house and he's making things simple again. I mean, even if you watch Russell Wilson, that throw that he had to Cortland Sutton with the toe
unbelievable.
Drag, that was very reminiscent of the throw that he threw to Tyler Lockett on Monday night. Still one of the greatest throws that I've ever seen in the back left corner of the end zone when they were playing the
I think this one might have topped
with the Nike rushes. I mean, it may have, but he's playing better football. He has better confidence. They're going to the ways in which he had success when he was with the Seattle Seahawks. That's what this team is doing. That fire drill, man, we practiced that fire drill at every level, whether it was college, whether it was the NFL.
Yeah.
You practice that on Fridays, and it's fun to watch.
Well done.
You're like, you're never going to use this stuff until you actually use it.
Twice.
Twice in one game. So things like this, they aren't random. They are actually practiced in practice, though.
I don't want to sit here and pretend like the Buffalo Bills are 3-7 and have no chance to make the playoffs. I just think by their play with the eyeball test, I just don't know how they get it going again. You know, Orlovsky was on ESPN today, or I think it was on his X account actually, going through the game tape saying like, I have no idea what they're doing offensively. It is amazing how bad this offense is. No movement, no motion, no creativity, no
Fourth
nothing.
and 1, they're in a shotgun.
Yeah.
4th and 1, they're in a shotgun.
With no motion.
With no motion. 4th and 1.
And it's just like, that is the coach. Like, that is what we talk about. You know, and so much, Bram, sorry, you talk about like expansion.
Yeah.
There's not 32 good coaches now in the NFL. There's not 32 good quarterbacks now in the NFL. I don't know how you would want to expand this.
Yeah, I think it's an expansion teams.
Expand teams, cities, whatever.
It's always money. It's always fun. I guess they're trying to figure out like the Las Vegas Golden Knights or whatever. But the interesting thing about the Buffalo Bills, Ryan and Mash, they've been in Super Bowl contention talk or conference championship talk now for the better part of 5 years.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
If you look at the teams in those 5 years, it's about identity. You talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. We can tell you their identity. They're going to get the ball to Travis Kelce. They're going to get the ball into Patrick Mahomes' hands. He's going to keep it in the third and manageable, and he's going to use McKinnon and those guys out of the backfield. You want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Do we know what their identity is? They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They're going to beat you down until the end, and then they're going to throw to A.J. Brown. That's going to be their secret weapon. You could talk about the Joe Burrow. He's going to throw the ball when it counts in the fourth quarter. He's going to get the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and he's going to beat you. What is the Buffalo Bills' identity? 5 years they've been in the Super Bowl contention. What's their identity? Do they run the ball? No. Do they play 3 wide? Do they play 11 personnel? Are they 12 personnel? Are they dependent on the tight end? They're dependent on Josh Allen to go out there and create a win. That's it. Josh Allen, you go out there and you make it happen with Stephon Diggs, and we'll play something on defense. Last year, watching them in the playoffs was embarrassing. They almost let Skylar Thompson beat them in the first round. This is Miami Dolphins coming to Buffalo in January, and then the next round, it was embarrassing watching the Cincinnati Bengals just destroy them. How don't you have a plan? How don't you have a game plan, and you're a home team in the playoffs for the second round? They don't have an identity. That's on the coach.
Outside of the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud, good or bad, is there a bigger story in the NFL right now than the disappointment that the Buffalo Bills are? I want to ask that question for you next. But first, a message from Dispo.
Alrighty. Romeo Dispo, open to midnight now. Michigan's largest cannabis mall, 21 and up. Recreational only, but they have the best brands that you want to come by. The best ways to consume your cannabis products, whether it's oil, whether it's flower, they have it all. And they got the best people working there too, man. It's a cool spot. You walk in, feel like a kid in a candy store. Well, it's somewhat of a candy store for adults. Come down to Dispo Romeo, Michigan's largest cannabis mall.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Hey, gang, for over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. And if you sit here on Woodward Avenue, you see the Fairway trucks coming to all the great Birmingham restaurants. Now you can go to them. They have the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods on Mack Avenue, vacuum-packed, vacuum-sealed steaks that you could get for yourself. You cook them at your house so you don't have to go to one of those fancy restaurants to eat like a king. That's right. You can order online if you can't make it in person. Fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com.
Pack, age, prime, cut to perfection.
We got Kool-Aid in the house. Parker is here with us as well. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and Tom Mazaway talking a little football on a Tuesday afternoon in the city of Detroit. Talking a little bit about that Monday Night Football game last night. The NFL as a whole, we'll get to some Lions talk pretty soon, and we'll talk to Jamie Morris, former Michigan legend, NFL vet, host of the M Zone on WTKA. We'll talk to him in about 15 minutes from now. But I just want to stick with the Buffalo Bills. And again, the Buffalo Bills are 5-5. They're a game and a half out of first place in the NFC East. So I don't want to make it sound like they're 3-7 and have no chance to make the playoffs. But I think the Bills this year are perhaps the biggest story in the NFL not named C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, which I think Stroud's performance and Houston's success this year is the biggest story in the NFL so far.
Yeah.
He's
been amazing.
When it comes to surprises. Yeah. When it comes to surprises, I should say. And the biggest surprise in the disappointment factor, to me, the Buffalo Bills. Braylon, is there a bigger one?
Disappointment-wise,
now you called this, so you might have somebody else. You expected the Buffalo Bills team to not be that good this year. I think for the layperson, for the casual watcher of football, or just a football fan that doesn't see the game quite like you do, this is surprising to them.
Yeah, this is it. This is one of the situations where every year you have Buffalo Bills, you have Josh Allen ahead of that podium or right at that podium in terms of to win the MVP, them to maybe get to AFC Championship, excuse me. But this year it's just been a complete downfall. I mean, I think them and the Patriots are the story. I think it's Patriots and what do you do with Bill Belichick? And I think it's the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Is it the coach? Is it Josh Allen? Is it both of those guys? It's just a bad thing, especially when you look at the fact that no matter how you want to slice it, they may not be completely out of this thing, Ryan, but they lost to the Patriots and the Jets this year. Just let that sink in. They lost to the Patriots and the Jets this season, so I just think it's one of those deals where this thing is over for the Buffalo Bills, for Sean McDermott. Now it's a question of when you remove Sean McDermott at the end of the season, who do you bring in to guide Josh Allen? Because there is something about Brian Daboll that worked for Josh Allen. You got to go find somebody that had that same impact on him, and you got to get another coach because it's just you have steadily declined each year. That's the issue.
You might have a chance to get Brian Daboll back.
I was thinking about that.
Because here's what the Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen have told Wellington Mara's family, the great Wellington Mara's family with the Giants. They have said, if we do not have full autonomy next year to do what we want, to build this football team, to start who we want, we're out of here. And the Buffalo Bills have already told both of them that they're welcome back. How about that?
Wow.
Brian Daboll has stepped up to the Mara family and said, it's our show or let us go.
Which is an important point because, Bray, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
You may only get one shot at this.
Yep.
And where you go, and I do think, because Ben Johnson's name is all over the place now when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know if he's going to the Bills or not. I do expect him to be a head coach somewhere next year. But just take it back to last year for a minute. When you're sifting through where to go, maybe, just maybe, Ben Johnson, a couple of things could have been in play, but one of those things could have been maybe he didn't particularly care for the owner.
Yeah.
You know, if you're only going to get one shot at this, most people only get one shot at this. Who we kidding? Most people only get one. And if you're Brian Daboll, you go to this preeminent franchise of the New York Football Giants, and you can't do what you want to do, you're like, I'm out. I can't do this. I'm not working like this.
He's a coach of the year.
Yeah, 100%. And being coach
You
of
want
the
a
year,
playoff game.
and being a coach of the year is what helps him with this leverage and saying we're out if you don't give me full autonomy. That's like, I guarantee that's not happening to everybody, but he won coach of the year, so that gives him a little help. Like if you had a handicapped coach, and I mean that in terms of handicapping him and not giving him full power. Thank you. Handicapped by not being able to make full autonomy or full decision making. He won't be able to do the things necessary to win. Andy Reid, if Andy Reid was fully handicapped, I guarantee you he could not be a Super Bowl champion. Bill Belichick, we clearly know that that's the case. Howie Roseman and how they work with when Peterson was there.
Yep.
You have to be able to move the way you want, especially if you told me, hey, you know what, I believe in you as a coach. I think you can lead our franchise into the future. Yeah, we're going to sign you. This thing is going to work out. Well, let me lead. Because if you don't let me lead, there are things that I can't do. Like Robert Saleh, they're going to look back 10, 15 years from now and be like, oh, man, Robert Saleh was a horrible head coach with the New York Jets. But you don't really know all the facts. You don't know what he's privy to. You don't know the rooms that he weren't allowed to be in, which sounds crazy as a head coach. But that's how it goes. If you want to win in this game, you got to be able to have full autonomy within realm of respect.
You know there's a few teams that you go to, and you're not the boss. The Dallas Cowboys being one of them.
And you're only going to have a certain amount of success.
But
Mike
but
McCarthy
know
is
that.
not getting
You
Right.
know that
Exactly.
going in.
The Chargers. Nobody wants to work for Dean Spanos. Nobody. Those are the two teams right now. You think Ben Johnson's going to go somewhere? He ain't going to those two teams.
And
I'll
what
tell
about
you
the
right
Arizona
now.
Cardinals? That's
Cardinals and
another team.
Bidwells. They're horrible.
They
But
make their
horrible.
players pay for lunch.
But let me ask you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about Spanos.
Yeah.
The Spanos family seems to actually be not involved in anything to do with the team except paying players. Because it seems like, hey, you know what? You want Joey Bosa? We'll give you Joey Bosa. You want Joey Bosa to get paid? We'll pay Joey Bosa. Hey, you want Khalil Mack, who's on the decline? You want us to pay him a bunch of money coming out of Chicago? We'll do that for you. It seems like they do what they need. They just can't get the coach right.
Right, but
Yeah.
there's rumors about them and the way they handled the move from San Diego. They're a very frugal ownership when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Aren't they
I guess
still in court fighting each other?
I'm not even sure anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure anymore.
Yeah,
They
well,
belong in San Diego.
but to
They don't belong in L.A.
To your point, Ryan, that's one of those things, man, especially when you're Ben Johnson and you're looking at the landscape and you're saying, I don't want to go there. I don't know if I'm going to get the full the things I need here. I don't want to go there. They don't have the necessary roster. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in this situation with Detroit. This is going to be a good thing, and I can further build what I'm doing. I can actually create more to my cachet. So you can't be rushing to take moves. The only other side to that, they're paying these coaches so much money. You may jump the rush. Like you said, there's only 32 of these teams, 32 of these jobs. So if you get an opportunity, you may just have to take it and figure it out. Look at Cliff Kingsbury.
Well, that's just it, Braylon. I mean, you know,
120 million.
right? That's really the story here.
Yeah.
There aren't too many people that could say no to a $6, $7, $8 million deal when you're making less than $1 million. I mean, there are very few people. That's like Rocky back in 1976 with $109 in his pocket, being offered $250,000 for the script and saying, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe in myself that I will make this
Ballsy.
happen. That's a ballsy move,
Ballsy
Braylon,
move.
by an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator. Look at the guy. What is it? Shane Steichen, who went
Jay
to
Steichen doing a great job in Indy.
Well, not Indy. Who's the guy that went to
Frank Wright.
Arizona?
Jonathan Gannon
Jonathan
doing a
Gannon.
great job.
Well, he's doing an okay job, and we don't
A lot
know,
better than
we
okay.
don't know how the Bidwells are handicapping
Yeah, true.
him.
Right.
So that's a guy that's going to take that job. Oh, it's the Arizona Cardinals. I'll go do what Cliff Kingsbury did. You want to fire me?
Yeah.
Fine, fire me, but I'm walking away with $30 million.
I think nowadays there's such a great model for partnership. I think there's a great model for partnership in terms of a head coach, a GM, and an owner, and when it works, you see the partnership. I mean, you look at Sean McVay and you look at Stan Kroenke. Had a great relationship. Hey, look, you're the coach. We're going to pay you. Going to let you do what you do, GM. Les Snead. You look at the family down the areas, the family with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You see the winners that have success. The winners that win, you see the Hunt family and Andy Reid and how they do it with Veach, the GM. You see a winning partnership. So if I'm a guy, I'm a Ben Johnson, I'm getting a look, I'm paying attention to the partnerships that work. I'm paying attention to the teams that consistently have success and may be right there on the pinnacle of getting into the Super Bowl. And if I don't see one of those opportunities, like if I don't feel those type of, when I'm taking these meetings, I'm like, nah, this just doesn't feel like a great partnership where I can win. I'm not going to risk it if I don't really feel it.
You know, where you come from almost, I don't want to say predetermines where you go, but it's how you go about it, right? I mean, Dan Campbell comes from Bill Parcells and Sean Payton. Those two guys did it their way.
Yeah.
He wasn't coming here unless he was able to do it his way. Does that make sense to you?
He got a 6-year deal.
And he is doing it his way. I look at some of these other guys that take the chance, and I'm drawing a blank.
Look at the guy
now.
in Houston, the defensive coordinator,
D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
He's a guy that went from San Francisco. They let you do it your way. There's a lot of success there. That happens, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what happens with Ben Johnson because, look, any job that opens up, his name will be associated with it this time around. There is no doubt about it. I mean, some of the most creative offensive play calling that you will see, and that's not coming from me. I don't see the game like some of these former players and coaches and analysts see the game. But when, and I think we'll play it later in the show, Bray, but Baldinger showing all this motion, Orlovsky showing all this motion, and how these little deceptions of going this way and then coming back this way, it's just when you see it and it's explained to you.
How do you think Khalif Raymond was wide open on the game-winning drive?
Exactly. So, it really is something to see.
It really is something to see. And the thing about it is, you have to take it. You have to take it serious. It's no longer a thing where it's the Lions and they're having some success. We really need to see it. It's because the stats that you gave Ryan yesterday, they're starting to enter territory that the Lions have never done. They're starting to enter territory that only three or four teams have ever done. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care who you're playing against. When you start doing things and they start using and saying, well, this is only the third time this has ever happened. This is the most the Lions have ever had. The Lions have existed for over 75 years, and this is the most that they've ever had. So you got to start taking those things serious. We saw Ben Johnson, the first game of having everybody ready, having all his tools in the toolbox, and it looked amazing. And they weren't playing against bums. They may be having a bum season, but they weren't playing against bums in terms of player to player. He's putting this thing together, man. He took one game, and you saw what this thing could look like. So Ben Johnson is definitely having one of those years. We throw that genius term around way too loosely nowadays in society. Not this time.
You heard Tony Romo all Sunday gushing about this guy, gushing about this team, and gushing about some of these players.
Because
Tony Romo knows what he's talking about.
I think he would have loved to have played for a coach like that.
No doubt.
I think you would have loved to have played for a coach like that. When you see something that you just agree with, you just he gets it.
You get jealous.
This guy gets it.
Yeah.
This guy gets it. I want to work there. That could be at a car dealership, a sales meeting, a radio station. This guy gets it.
The jealous thing is it looks like a partnership all the way around. Me as a former player, sometimes when I first came in the league, there's a pecking order. I got to talk to my wide receivers coach, and I got to tell him how I feel about what I saw. My wide receivers coach has to then take it to the offensive coordinator and decide if he take it to him, and the coordinator decide if he likes what I said or not. Then he'll pass the information.
Community leadership.
It's community leadership. Now. Amon-Ra St. Brown can go to Ben Johnson and say, hey, man, this is what I see out there on the field. Or Ben Johnson to go to Amon-Ra St. Brown or insert coach player here.
Everybody should probably go to Sheila
Campbell. Exactly.
That's what that building is. That's how that building is run
and
now.
you're not afraid of it now. If I saw Sheila Ham, I could say, oh, you know what, Sheila, how you doing? Probably first name basis. Because I guarantee you it was Miss Ham, and then it was like, hey, call me Sheila.
Right.
That's the type of relationship they have down there, and it's great to see.
Fantastic stuff. Guys, got to get to a break. When we come back, we'll be joined by former Michigan great NFL vet, host of the M Zone on WTKA, the great Jamie Morris will join us. We'll talk a little Michigan, then we'll get into Lions as well. Lots to get to on a Tuesday, but first a message from Big Boy.
All right, fellas, winter's coming. Nothing's better than comfort foods with Big Boy. You know it. Get it. The veal parmesan is to die for. And the new Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, got to try that as well. But you want to start off with a great breakfast. Those stuffed potato pancakes are back, as well as the classic lumberjack and Santa Fe omelets. The new apple pie hotcakes, you got to try them. They're too good to miss. And don't forget, they got the best shakes in town, including their brand new gingerbread shake for dessert. Try it all at your local Big Boy.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
How would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway? Take your closest friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. You can drink it. You can live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win that $100,000 Vegas getaway at drinkcintron.com/Vegas and buy your Cintron from your local Meijer. Cintron is a healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself with Cintron. So go to drinkcintron.com/Vegas for that $100,000 Vegas getaway.
All right, welcome back, Woodward Sports. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and Tom Mazaway. Let's bring in this guy, one of our favorites of all time, Michigan great NFL vet, host of the M Zone on WTKA. You could follow him on Twitter, on X, at JMorris23. The great Jamie Morris. How you doing, Jamie?
How you guys doing? What's going on?
Hey, Jamie.
What's up, J-Mo? I'd be doing better if all this BS wasn't going on with Michigan in the Big Ten, but hey, you know what? I'm feeling good today, so I'm not going to spoil it.
You should. Dude, you feel good.
This is true. Stick my chest up a little bit.
Hey, Jamie, before I get into the off-the-field stuff, can I stay on the field for a second? Jamie Morris, the running back, 32 consecutive runs. What did that mean to you?
Hey, we made a decision, conscious decision, that we were going to win this game. I don't know if you saw those edge rushers that Penn State had, but we couldn't block those guys. We could not. JJ could have got hurt out there.
Yeah.
And it made the game faster. That clock kept ticking. And we were able to move the ball against them. So it was a smart move by Sharon Moore.
Jamie, talk to me about what that win meant on the field at Penn State without Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines. This team, I don't know if you know, you could even, make a correlation to anything you've been through in your playing career, but to not have your head coach less than 24 hours before the game, to not have that knowledge. How did this team respond to that? How did this team overcome? How did this team respond to adversity?
Well, they knew that this was a possibility. I mean, everybody knew that it was a possibility. You were hoping that the Big Ten wouldn't do this, but you knew it was coming. It was a possibility. Everybody thought on Friday when he got on that plane that the Big Ten wasn't going to make that move. But you know what? He had to make the move. He felt he had, and I'm talking about the commissioner, felt he had to make that move for the Little 13, and they needed it. But the one thing is, he forgot about the resolve that this team has. They love their coach more than anything in the world. And you know what? Bet. You want to call it? Bet. We'll show you that we can do it ourselves. And I have nothing but the great respect, the Michigan attitude, the whole everything about this team. They just showed no resolve and went out there and played football.
Yeah, I appreciate that, too. And I agree with you 100% about the Little 13, but also what Michigan did on that football field. You talk about those edge rushers and what they were doing to be able to beat that Penn State team in Penn State without Jim Harbaugh. I don't care how good that team is, how good you think the other team is. They went into Happy Valley, the number 10 team in the country with one loss. They beat a team that had their coach. You didn't have yours. Any other team did that in the country, I would give them respect. Like I promise you, I would give them respect. If Nick Saban goes into top 2-3 team here and beats that SEC team, you want to talk about Washington's coach. If he goes into Oregon or goes into third-ranked Penn State, there you go, Utah. He goes in there and he beats Utah without their coach. You got to give them some respect. So I think they deserve the respect. With that being said, Can Michigan beat Ohio State without Jim Harbaugh?
Yes.
Explain.
We got their number, Braylon.
Got you. I agree. I want the people to hear from you, a fresh voice.
In their head. We live in their head, and they can beat Jim Harbaugh. He'll be. Let me say this: he won't be far from the big house. I'll tell you that. When we do win, he'll be coming out on that center field, and we'll celebrate with him too.
It's funny. I actually was talking about the year that Tom Brady got suspended those 3 games and then ends up winning the Super Bowl, and then Roger Goodell had to hand him that MVP trophy. I said, look, I swear I've seen this vision where Tony Petitti has to hand that award to Jim Harbaugh in the Big Ten Championship. I guess now we have to get into off the field, if you were Ryan and Ermanni. What's going to come of this injunction in this court hearing on Friday? Is it potentially to say that Harbaugh can coach this rest of the season, or is it or no?
I don't know. I think it's 50-50 right now.
Okay.
I don't know why the judge did not make the decision last Friday. The little bits that I hear, they hired a local lawyer, someone who fought against the university in various things, and he was able to mangle his way through there, and he got the court to move it to next week. I don't know why. It could have been Monday, it could have been Tuesday, it could have been Wednesday, it could have been Thursday.
Yeah.
But the judge decided on another Friday that she would make a decision, which does not make sense to me. So I'm 50-50 at it now.
Hey, Jamie, and we're talking to Jamie Morris, former Michigan great host of the M Zone on WTKA. Jamie, talk to me about the way the Big Ten handled this. Jim Harbaugh said yesterday he found out when somebody on the plane showed him the social media post of the suspension. That alone is absurd. That part of it alone.
It's not Braylon and my Big Ten anymore. This Big Ten, you got a new commissioner coming in, and he wants to take on the big boy. He wants to take on Michigan. I know the coaches went and whined to the commissioner and said, "You always do things for Michigan. Michigan always gets what they want." And so he wants to show the iron hand against Michigan, so he gets everybody else in line. It's mob mentality. They want to do some kind of thing. Look, and when you listen to this commissioner talk, he said he's not punishing personally Jim Harbaugh. He's punishing the individual of Michigan. That means he could have suspended the president of the university, one of the regents of the university. He didn't have to choose Jim Harbaugh. He did that on purpose, and everybody knows that. Come on.
This does feel like a personal vendetta against Jim Harbaugh. It really does. And the Big Ten isn't even conducting their own investigation. They're going off of bits and pieces of what the NCAA investigation is.
Nothing.
Which did conclude that Jim Harbaugh didn't have anything to do with this.
Don't understand.
Didn't know. Had nothing to do with it. So why suspend him? You want to know what? Here's the thing about it, Ryan. You know what? Jim Harbaugh and I, we go back at one another all the time. But I'm going to say this. When you mess with my boy, Jim Harbaugh, my brother, you mess with the wrong Michigan brother, because we all coming out. We may not travel the same roads or anything like that, but when you mess with us, Michigan, we come back together.
Can I follow up on that a minute? Because Jamie, I think you just hit on something that is spot on. Michigan, I don't want to say Michigan has like little fractures and little fractures or branches all over the tree, but you got the trunk of the tree, which is Michigan, and you got all these little branches maybe that come out from the tree. Man, all those branches just kind of folded into the trunk on this one.
Yeah.
You done messed up. That's what he did. He messed up. You forget that we're the largest living alumni group. You forget that we come together when it comes to when our brother's in peril. So Jim's right. We're in all step together now. You shouldn't have messed with the Michigan guy.
No, they shouldn't have F with us, and you know it is. You know you better than anybody know how me and Jim Harbaugh are. It just is what it is. We're stubborn against you. I'm stubborn. He's stubborn. We'll eventually bury that hatchet someday. But Jim Harbaugh went to Michigan and he coached for Michigan. So did I. So I've been on it. One of the big things that bothers me is just the consistent change of conversation whenever you're talking about this. You can never just stay in one thing. It's like, hey, well, you know what? They had Connor Stallions on the sideline. Well, Jim Harbaugh knew about he knew about it. Well, even if he didn't, he's the head coach and he should be in control of everything. It's so many different conversations that we're having to have. It's so many different disagreements that we're having. The thing that we're talking about is Michigan alums, is Michigan players, and logistical people is this. During the season, you came on with an investigation, legitimately very shady timing, and as opposed to allowing this thing play out to you to get all the investigative information so that you can make a real decision, you rush to judgment at a very shady time once again, and now you suspend Jim Harbaugh without following the due process. And we know that the Big Ten, as Ryan Ermanni illustrated, used the NCAA's investigation, which came back and said we could not prove that Jim Harbaugh knew anything. So technically, they don't have a conversation. The Big Ten should have been able to do that. Now you have to figure out if Connor Stallions, that was him at the Central Michigan game. What was going on behind that? It's just so many different arguments, and I don't think they handle it right. And they set terrible precedent because now, if anybody gets alleged of anything, well, all I got to do is, if you allege Michigan State or something, let me call Ohio State and say, yeah, man, let's get on to Petiti right now. Let's jump on this, and you suspend them. What's to stop them from doing that with any team? This is a dangerous precedent that they have set.
Well, Braylon,
I can't teach my kids this. This doesn't make sense. How do I teach my kids this? Dad, why can't Michigan play? I don't know.
It's funny you say that. I'm just gonna say this, and I'm sorry. It's not a dirty secret anymore.
Yeah.
We don't keep it under the wraps. Everybody scouts teams, and they send their personnel to those other venues, and they sit in there. They don't buy the credit card on their names, but they do go there and they scout. I'm sorry. It's always been that way. It's gonna be that way. The NCAA outlawed it and said it's because it's unfair because you don't have the money for it financially, and so they banned it. But you think those colleges really
Nobody stopped
doing it? Yeah, Michigan does it, but everybody else does it too. And the problem is when it gets in court and everybody's got to talk, you better tell the truth because
that's right.
You'll go to jail if you don't.
Maz, before I get to you, I do want to. That's a very interesting point here because if you are granted this temporary restraining order, and I'm no lawyer, but I believe the discovery process then can rear its head. Yeah. And these other Big Ten schools better look out when they start throwing casting stones. I apologize for that, Maz.
No, you basically said my question. What could possibly happen here, Jamie? You're saying that Michigan, we're all banding together and all, and I'm happy about that. But what good is us all banding together going to do?
That's a good point.
You know what, Maz? This ain't your grandfather's Michigan anymore. I'm going to tell you what, there's all kinds of things. Michigan's talking about moving maybe to another conference, to going independent. There's all kinds of things going on, Maz, behind the closed doors.
But there's a lot of money in the Big Ten. That's tough to walk away from.
There's a lot of money in the Block M too.
And Michigan has more than everybody put together.
There's a lot of money in the Big Ten because there was a lot of Michigan in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
You take Michigan away from Michigan State. You take Michigan away from Ohio State. You take Michigan away from all the other 13 that play us.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Where does this end, Jamie? Where do you think this ends? Because I really don't know where this ends, to be honest with you. I do think, if I had to guess, I do think they get the temporary restraining order on Friday and Jim Harbaugh coaches the rest of the season and they play out. But where does it end in the relationship between Michigan and the Big Ten? Because I don't think it's repairable at this point. I almost think, I don't want to say you have to leave, but somebody's got to go. Either Michigan or Tony Petiti.
Well, who do you think? I mean, I'm going to say this. Michigan's been in the Big Ten for many moves.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this.
44.
You got to get all the eggheads together. And I'm talking about the presidents and the chancellors. They got to weigh in. And they got to make the right choice, because make the wrong choice, the Big Ten may not have the University of Michigan to kick around anymore.
The great Jamie Morris. We got to let you go because I know you got your own show you got to get to.
Keep talking about the same stuff.
Right. Hey, thanks for joining us, Jamie. We really appreciate your perspective.
Problem.
You got it. You can check out Jamie, host of the M Zone, WTKA, at J Morris 23. Thanks so much,
Thanks, Jamie.
We appreciate it, and go
Thanks,
blue.
guys.
Go blue.
Baby.
Absolutely great insight from Jamie Morris. We're going to take a break. We'll get back to that react next. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm, Braylon. They are your local security experts and have been for over 90 years. When you see
That
this
message.
black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800.
Stay out.
That number again, 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equipment Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Hey gang, what happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. That's exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. They offer the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. Located in Ferndale on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. And of course, if you're looking for a Chevy or a Cadillac, Les Stanford is in Dearborn, where they have been on Michigan Avenue for over 55 years. You can find the brand you want under one umbrella, LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Find new roads.
Find them. They just wanted to make a point about.
And then just the stalwartness of these guys. I mean,
No, you're right.
I
You're
would have
good.
to say, I mean, everybody. It's got to be America's team. It's got to be America's team. America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcomes what the naysayers and critics, so-called experts think. That's my favorite kind of team. And yeah, watching it from that view on the television, it was finally people get to see what I see every day, in these players and these coaches.
America. Hey, sorry to step on that sound there, Jimmy. Sorry to step all over your sound there, Jim. But yeah, absolutely great stuff yesterday. America's team. I love it. America's team. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, too, is, look, there are people that don't get along exactly great with Jim Harbaugh. Braylon, you're one of them.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? This is just what it is. I don't think Jamie Morris is like 100% in lockstep with Jim Harbaugh, but there is something about this story that has seemingly brought everybody together on one page. And I do think it's this fairness aspect of it. You just see this is such a lack of common sense. This is such a lack of fairness. This is such a lack of anything that you could even deduce to be some sort of reasonable punishment or explanation for anything. It's just out of control, and I think everybody has seen that is kind of in the Jim Harbaugh camp now.
Yeah, it definitely is brought us together. And look, life isn't fair. That's why I went to Michigan. I wanted an advantage. Shoot, I went to Michigan because life isn't fair. But in situations like this, that is the aspect that it's called into question. And I think it's the other things that kind of hit collateral damage because of it. So you start off by saying, Greg Schiano dropped some information after the Conner Stallions comes out. Greg Schiano comes out and said, well, we did see some things, then talk about what he sees. And it kind of just grew into, from 3 weeks, it grew to, oh, shoot, now it's just Michigan should be suspended from the college football playoff. Jim Harbaugh should be suspended. He knew, and it's a witch hunt, fast witch hunt. I don't mind due process. I don't mind at the end, but everything happened right away. Then it also goes back to this part, and this is actually when I started getting angry. It goes back to, we knew something was wrong when Michigan got that good. We knew something was wrong when Michigan started dominating. We knew things had changed. Now this makes sense in what happened in the last 2 years. First of all, we were just talking about this particular year. We're talking about the Rutgers sideline and some other ones. So how did we get to last season? Oh, guilty by association. Then it's Harbaugh wasn't good until the last 2 years, and I just disagree. I just look at his first year. 10 games, Jake Rudock. Next year, 10 games. I mean, they're an inch from going to the Big Ten Championship and possibly playing in the playoffs. 2016, 2017, they beat Penn State by, 42-10? Beat Wisconsin that year, too, and Wisconsin was ranked. That's 2017. 18 and 19 and 20 weren't necessarily the best years, but then he got his guys in there. I just think you're discrediting a lot of work that strength and conditioning coach put in, because he got those guys ready. I think you're discrediting a lot of hard work of Hassan Haskins, of Aiden Hutchinson, of David Ojabo, of Blake Corum. I mean, you're talking about a guy that has bled for this, literally bled for this team for 4 years. Donovan Edwards, J.J. McCarthy, the way in which he's been a leader, the way in which he's evolved. Even you give Cade McNamara, give him some credit. When he was here, winning the Big Ten Championship, the first time they had won it since 2004. So I think it's just a lot of discrediting of the players and the work that they put in. They put in some hard hours. They remember those long days when they were getting their ass whooped by Ohio State, when they got beat 2 years in a row almost by 50 points each time, when they were not where they wanted to be, and they worked hard to not be in that space. Recruiting by Jim Harbaugh has changed. The coaching staff is much younger than it was. He had all these old NFL farts that didn't want to try to teach kids how to evolve, how to develop as a player. Because in the NFL, when you come in, it's just you should be ready. That was Eric Campbell. That was my wide receivers coach. That was Eric Campbell's job. Your job now is pay attention to these concepts and get ready. So there's a lot of discrediting of Michigan over the past 9 years based on some information that they haven't even fully said they have.
In Bray, it's being led by ESPN. Here's 100%. What Paul Feinbaum had to say about this. And clearly ESPN has an agenda against Michigan right now. Paul Feinbaum blasted Jim Harbaugh for calling Michigan America's team. Here's the quote: "I found it sad and pathetic. Why? Because this isn't America's team. This isn't what America is about. Here we are, just days removed from Veterans Day, where we honor people who are really representative of America. This team is not representative of anything other than a program accused of cheating. Cheating! Exclamation mark. Trying to steal signs to gain an unfair advantage. That's not the way this country was built, and that's not what should be described as America's team." End quote. And did you see the quote tweet from one of the some of the guys in the Army or Navy? Or there was some military guy that said, "I fought wars for this country, and it was my job to steal the other country's signs."
I love it. I love it. I mean, Jesus.
I just love how he said it. First of all, Paul Feinbaum, who always talks about Bill Belichick being the best coach of all time. Last time I checked, he got accused of cheating. So relax on that. And also, this is ESPN.
Honestly, which college coach, Braylon, has not been accused of cheating?
None of it. I don't even want to get into that.
Is there one?
See, no, and I don't want to get in that because then that's when people open the floodgates. We're not talking about that. We're talking about cheating.
Okay, fine.
So we can stay with Michigan. I'm fine with that. I'll stay on point. But I just love I just love how everyone's listening to Paul Feinbaum and Heather Dinich and other individuals that are against Michigan. And when I say Michigan, not an agenda, he's an SEC representative radio station guy. When you think Paul Feinbaum, what comes to mind?
SEC.
Alabama, SEC, and maybe Georgia. Or Auburn, because he started in Alabama.
That's a little geek.
Like, that's what comes to mind. Let me ask you a question. Remember on last Friday, Desmond Howard, on the show, the quietest I've heard Paul Feinbaum and Heather Dinich, and actually everybody on ESPN, including Stephen A. Smith. I don't think it was respect. I don't think they had anything to say. When he asked them if this would have happened at the SEC, he says, this would happen at the SEC. Heather Dinich did this, and Paul Feinbaum said, well, maybe not. Why are we listening to Paul Feinbaum about how the Big Ten should rule on Jim Harbaugh? Why are we listening to somebody who's technically not even a member of the SEC, but he represents the SEC? Isn't it better for him if Michigan doesn't get in? Now they could potentially get 2 teams in. I just think it's funny the information and where we're listening to it from, who you're listening to it from.
And ESPN's a huge culprit of this, Maz. I mean, Stephen A. Smith.
They all went back. They hate Jim because Jim and Fox have a good relationship.
I am so disappointed in Stephen A. Smith, and then Shannon Sharp piled on today. And what Shannon Sharp said was not accurate. Shannon Sharp said Jim Harbaugh's players don't like him. They probably hate him. They probably don't like playing for him.
That's false.
That's
a dumb statement.
That is just not true.
Maybe years ago.
But what I'm saying is,
not now.
There are
speculation, assumed.
But you could go back. When you coach 85 guys or 100 guys, could you find 1 or 2 on each team? Yes. But you could go to San Diego, you could go to Stanford, you could go to the 49ers, and you could go to Michigan, and you could probably count on 2 hands all the players that have had a problem with Jim Harbaugh. And that's not a lot, considering that's probably about 1,000 people, maybe, over the course of a coaching career.
Hey, at the end of the day, the big thing is this. The big thing is this. The NCAA's job was to find out if Jim Harbaugh knew about Connor Stallions, and then from there they can make a determination. They determined that Jim Harbaugh knew nothing about Connor Stallions. They were not allowed to prove it. Then they walked out the door. Then Big Ten comes in and says, we're going to use the same information that the NCAA already has, which is enough to say Jim Harbaugh did not know what was going on. And somehow with that information, they were able to determine that he should be on the hook for this and he should be suspended from the game going against Penn State and the rest of the season. That's just a big thing. Like, that is the thing for us. I think it's the improper way in which they went about the whole thing. That's all.
We got a couple guys in the chat. I'm Salty, Erwin Fletcher, alias Fletch. They're Ohio State guys, and they just keep saying, you guys are a bunch of cheaters. You guys are getting your dessert. You get what you deserve. You're a cheater, you cheater, you cheater. They're Ohio State guys.
See you on the 25th.
What did the Ohio State, what was the pro that said, I was in the locker room with the Ohio State guy? Jay Feely is in the locker room for 20 years with Ohio State players. And they would laugh and talk out loud on how much they got paid at the University of Ohio State.
Remember when Ryan Day said he needed $13 million?
Yeah.
What's that for?
Pay his players.
The salary cap?
They were paying players they were paying players, guys. Michigan didn't do that. So don't stand on your soapbox and say that we're cheaters. Just Michigan's the only one that's cheating. Please. Well, Ohio State did it more than Michigan.
I know. I'm just saying.
Ohio State did it a lot more than Michigan. And the SEC, they might as well be the NFL.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So don't just say that Michigan got caught cheating. You guys are being almost like babies.
Bray, you got the last word on this.
At the end of the day, we know what it is. And we'll see you on the 25th. There's something else to talk about.
You know what time it is.
And guess what? Jim Harbaugh is going to be on that sideline. Michigan is a lot stronger than you think, more powerful than you think. It's the reason they call it the block him.
Guys, we'll get to Lions talk. Hour number 2 coming up next. But first, a message from Swiss.
Do you have football on the brain? I know Ohio State has Michigan on the brain right now because that's all they can talk about. Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year is going to be awesome, and it already has been awesome. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Market Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248 248-800-4177. That number again, 248-800-4177. Swiss Insurance. They're covering us.
Burgers and chicken sandwiches are taking over at Big Boy. Try our new pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Turn up the heat with Bob's Hot Chicken Sandwich. Upgrade those regular fries with our chili cheese fries or loaded baked potato fries. Hit your sweet tooth with funnel cake fries or Reese's chocolate peanut butter thunder cake. Load up on all your favorites today at Big Boy.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Hey gang, come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
Hey, welcome back, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. Hour number 2 of the program. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and Tom Mazaway.
Before you start on Lions, I would just honestly, I wish Michigan could have a rematch now with all the crybabies. I would love to play Rutgers this weekend. Can we play Rutgers again?
Would you love to see it?
I would love to see. Let's play Rutgers. You know what? Let's run the ball 45 times right down their throats, and then ask Greg Schiano how he feels. Let's go to Nebraska again and go against Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers and replay them again. We'll give you a fair chance this time, Nebraska. We're going to tell you we're going to run the ball 45 times. Let me see you stop it. Let me see you stop it.
My big thing is this, and I agree with you, Matt, but here it is. That is another thing I always forget because it's so much conversation, you get tired. The logistics of who blew the whistle, the teams that are complaining. You can't tell me, and this is Paul Feinbaum, this is everyone, you can't tell me how bad the Big Ten is this year, last year, the year before that. You can't talk about how beneath the SEC and the Pac-12 the Big Ten is. You can't do all that and then tell me when this hack comes out, oh, that explains why they were beating teams so bad. You can't tell me they were a bad conference and then all of a sudden, well, that's why. Can't have it both ways.
Guys, let's get to some Lions talk now, if we can, because I think this is a big moment in this Lions franchise. And one of the things I want to discuss with you is Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell should absolutely have his contract ripped up and re-signed, not only to an extension, but a significant raise. Dan Campbell makes $4 million a year. He could get that and 3-4 times over if he went to college. Now, I think there is that Texas A&M stuff out there, you know, whether it's a rumor or not, whether he's going or not, it does highlight the discrepancy in pay from what you can make in college to what you can make in the NFL. This is a guy you cannot let go. Not now, not, I don't want to say ever, but in no time soon, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you hit the nail on the head the other day when you brought this up. Dan Campbell is a guy that is focused on winning. He is focused on this team. He is focused on where he is right now. And where he is right now is very comfortable with his $4 million job. And he is working towards trying to get to the NFC Championship and then eventually the Super Bowl, hopefully this year being the same. So I think even if Sheila Hamp came at him right now And even if they bought him a new deal, said, damn, you have absolutely been amazing. We got to rip this up. It's time to sign a new one. I guarantee you, like, just kind of seeing Dan and kind of getting the feel for his personality. That's fine, but we don't need to do it right now. Right now, I'm focusing on the NFL. To your point, they definitely need to do something as soon as the season ends because he has earned it. He has put this team in a situation where now you have everybody in this country fearing the Detroit Lions. Like, I legitimately heard something I had never heard the other day talking about the Lions were the team to fear in the playoffs. If the Lions got home field advantage, I feel like that. But I didn't think anybody else would feel like that around the country. They said if the Lions got that number 1 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles would be in trouble, and the 49ers, it would be a damn good game. I didn't think I would ever hear that. Just to hear things like that at the end of the season, you definitely need to pay him. But I guarantee if you did it now, Ryan, he would tell you, let's wait till the season's over.
Hey, we all know that Texas A&M job's available, and, yeah, he's a Texas A&M guy, and, boy, would they take care of him and his family. And it would be a great gig. Hard for anyone to turn down that gig. If Dan Campbell goes to Texas A&M, and he won't, but he's further down on the list, and he's doing so great, and he's probably reached his goal of being an NFL coach. That's a great job. Yeah. But the guy's making how much, Ryan? $4 million?
Yeah.
He's one of the lowest paid coaches in the league. And in his 2.5 years here so far, he's done every single thing that he said he was going to do. And we wouldn't want to be without him. Yep. I mean, I want to look on the sidelines and see that guy on the sidelines for the Lions for years to come.
The other thing, too, in terms of like the taking that John Ryan is right now, Dan Campbell, he's always been in the NFL as a coach. Now he's a head coach in the NFL. He's used to coaching men. He's used to coaching grown men, NFL men. He's used to coaching the NFL system. To come from the NFL, which is all you've ever known, to go to the college landscape right now, I mean, you're going to have, like, yeah, $12 million or whatever, but now you have to recruit all season long for, like, legitimately 365 days. You're steadily recruiting. You're working with high school kids, turning them to men. You got to deal with those personalities and all the things that they are right now. It's a much different day and age than when he was in college, when we were in college. So I think that is the thing that would deter most NFL coaches from going to college.
You know, nobody's saying make, Bill Belichick money at $20 million a year, or Sean Payton makes $18 million a year.
Jeez.
But Mike Vrabel in Tennessee makes $9.5 million.
He's been in the AFC Championship.
Josh McDaniels makes $10 million.
And he's not even coaching.
And he's not even that's what you're dealing with here when it comes to some of these coaches. You know,
basically, like who wants to pay you, all right? Is that kind of like the old adage, like Las Vegas Raiders? They got, they're in the buying. You got Britta Gruden. Here's Josh McDaniels. He's been under Belichick for all these years. Mark Davis is in a rush to get a guy with a name to make it work, and they paid him $10 million. Boy, does he wish he could have that $10 million back.
At what point do you re-sign Dan Campbell?
End of this year.
End of the year.
End of the year. As soon as, because the big thing, I think, to your point, I would offer it. Like 100%, I'm seeing him. I am going to offer. But I'm just telling you what I think Dan Campbell would do. So you can offer it now, but I think you definitely get a deal done before the season starts next year. And yeah, he's a guy. Like he's a dude, man. He's gonna. Hey, I signed a 6-year deal. We can wait to talk about then even. But I think you get this guy taken care of because the players will agree with it and he will agree with it. And just like anybody else, I don't care how comfortable you are in a thing. When somebody gives you that security, that reassurance, it makes you feel better and it makes you operate at a higher level.
He's doing a great job, and he's got a great staff. He empowers his staff. He empowers his players, and he's everything that you want this organization to be. He's everything you want the face of your organization to be. The head coach is the face of your organization. It's that way in New England, in Seattle, in Kansas City, in Detroit, in Denver, in everywhere. Yeah. That's who is the face of your organization, and you couldn't ask for somebody better to represent this city, represent this football team, represent the Ford family than Dan Campbell. And I just think when you see, Coach of the Year, he's the favorite to win the Coach of the Year, or a top 2, top 3 favorite to win the Coach of the Year. When you see the transformation in this locker room, when you see the transformation in the community, people in that, like, honestly, how many times have you seen people wear Lions gear?
Every day.
Every day now. But
Before Dan Campbell.
Before this year. Before Dan Campbell even.
Only on Sunday.
And only at the game.
Exactly.
You never saw people walking around in Lions gear. You really didn't. And I just think the sooner the better, because that way your head coach isn't rumored to be going anywhere.
Yeah.
Not to Dallas, not to Texas A&M, not to anywhere. I think it's incumbent upon this franchise to really take care of him and Brad Holmes, for that matter.
Definitely.
Brad Holmes, I think, has a 5-year deal. I think those two, I think he had a 5-year deal, and Dan Campbell had a 6-year deal. Those two guys should get locked up right now.
Definitely. Definitely should lock those guys up, too. One thing that they're going to do a good job of, too, I think they're following the Dallas Cowboys motto, is paying their guys, taking care of their guys, their draft picks, their people. So I think they both should get taken care of. I mean, you talked about yesterday, you talked about Sam Laporta, you talked about Jahmyr Gibbs, you talked about Brian Branch, you talked about Jack Campbell having his best game. You talk about Aiden Hutchinson. You talk about Penei Sewell. I heard Neil Rule say the other day that Penei Sewell right now, in his opinion, is the best offensive lineman in the NFL. I mean, if you look at stats and you look at numbers, he might not be far off the point looking at it that way. So he's done an amazing job of giving Dan Campbell the soldiers that he needed. Let me stop, because I hate when people hate when you do the war with football. He's giving him the players that he's needed on his roster to have this type of success. So they both should be paid. And they're a team. You see the T-shirt thing.
Oh, yeah.
Brad Holmes wears a Dan Campbell T-shirt. Dan Campbell the next week wears a Brad Holmes T-shirt. So they're in this thing together. So, yeah, they both should be paid at the same time.
Hey, grit, man, right? This team is grit.
Villains, baby.
Yeah, no doubt. This team is also having some fun on the field. Coming up next, you're going to hear what Dan Campbell thinks about his offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. You'll also hear from Brian Baldinger, talking about the Lions offensive coordinator and what they do on that offensive line. All that next, but first a message from Feldman.
All right, that is Michigan's Chevy #1 dealership with 18 locations. There's a Feldman dealership in your backyard, or right near you. Just go to feldmanauto.com. Since 1996, that is. Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, first-class car buying experience. It's called the Feldman Advantage. Do yourself a favor. Take advantage.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports. Woodward and Main Street. The Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Hey gang, let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan-grown, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, even weed whippers, Liberty trailers, Generac generators, SnowX plows, and salters. Outdoor Equipment Company has it all. You could buy it, you could rent it, all for 0% financing, delivered to your doorstep. OutdoorEquipCo.com, OutdoorEquipCo.com. Woodward Sports Network. Hey, I want to play this for you. Dan Campbell talking about his offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson.
Yeah, by the way, yesterday, and I didn't realize he was running down. I think he ran right in front of me. I didn't even know it. Yeah, he was moving. He was pretty excited. He can still run pretty good. That's the other thing, by the way. I thought Ben called a hell of a game. My gosh. I just felt like he was 2 steps ahead, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to call a better game than he did offensively. I was really proud of him. It was great. And
just to highlight this, before we have the discussion about Ben Johnson, just to highlight Dan Campbell, what he's saying, talking about calling a great game. Brian Baldinger breaks down these plays on X, on Twitter, and this is some of the ways he was breaking down Ben Johnson, kind of illustrating for you why Ben Johnson is so good and what makes Ben Johnson so good as a play caller, as a play designer. Here's Baldy.
What is it about just a well-designed play? When it's executed, it just captures your attention. Jared Goff waves Brock Wright in motion right here. When he comes, the Chargers are all watching the movement. They're all watching it. Everybody's watching it. Kenneth Murray's watching it. They're all watching and responding. Then once Brock Wright clears the guard, then the guard moves. Jonah Jackson. Now they're all watching. Like they're all mesmerized. They're all watching the movement when Jared Goff gets it outside to Monroe St. Brown, picks up a block from Taylor Decker. They have a go-ahead touchdown, 31-24. And here it is. Here's the motion, the movement by Brock Wright. Something about when you get that pre-snap motion and they're reacting exactly the way you want. There goes the guard. Look at the Chargers, just taking themselves right out of the play. And here it comes back to Monroe St. Brown. Pick up one block, and it's a walk on the moving sideways, moving sidewalk for a touchdown. Well done, well executed.
This is a hell of execution by Ben Johnson. I love Baldy's breakdowns, man. I actually had to hit him up, Maz, on Instagram. I DM'd him, said, Baldy, you got the best breakdown. He said, appreciate you, 17. But, yeah, because when you have these motions, obviously the motion is for determining if it's man or zone. Like, that's nothing hidden. You guys know that, and all the guys out there know they play video games. Man or zone, that's what it is. But the way they're using it, they're not using it to find out man or zone. They're using it as a distraction. So not only when they move Brock Wright into the slot, now the defense, now the linebackers, now the safety's over the point of attack. Now the linebacker's sitting right here. Now they're focusing on Brock Wright going in the inside. Meanwhile, the play is going back out there. No one's going to expect the play to go back out there so fast. They're going to expect him to figure it out, expect some type of handoff, expect some type of inside run, expect some type of drop back before they have a chance to really figure it out. He got the ball and immediately threw it right to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're still looking at Brock Wright. They're still in zone. So he's getting off so fast that that they're getting caught off guard. And now you're looking at it. By the time you look up in the end zone, it's a touchdown. And then they also use that Brock Wright motion. That plays another factor later on in the game on the Brock Wright touchdown. So Ben Johnson, like he said, he's just 2 steps ahead right now. I'm watching the play, and I'm like, okay, man, okay, it's zone. And then as I'm figuring out the play, this is on Sunday, I'm watching the play. I said, it's zone. What do they have for me? The ball was already out before I looked up, and then realized Amon-Ra St. Brown got the block by Taylor Decker and got in the end zone. So Ben Johnson is definitely doing his homework. He's definitely studying the teams that he's playing. And also that bye week helped him out a lot, man, because he's dialed in to that team, and he came out with a game plan. At least on offense, they came out with a game plan. So Ben Johnson is, you heard Dan Campbell. He's 2 steps ahead of the game.
You hear everyone. You hear Dan Orlovsky, Tony Romo, a bunch of people. The guys on NFL in the morning, Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. They all are in love with this Lions offense and their talent. But this guy is the guy putting them out there to be the best of themselves. That's why I say to you guys, right, and you say it, they've got a 5, 6, 7 year window here. Right. You got to win it this year. This year is when you want to win it. You've got to put every effort into winning this year, because you don't know if this is going to come around again. And the perfect storm, the way this guy runs this offense with this talent. And I know things change, and this guy's going to leave. You don't know who the next guy is. You don't know if he could be as good as this guy is. This is a very important year. That's why it disappointed the hell out of me
trade deadline,
that they didn't do anything at the trade deadline except they had DPJ.
Man, yeah, you bring up a great point, because what did we talk about at the opening of the show? We talked about Sean McDermott. Who did he lose? And ever since he's lost that guy, it's just been a complete you-know-what show. He brought Brian Daboll, and it's turned into a completely different team. Ben Johnson right now is operating at an elite level. He's operating at an elite level. You don't know if you'll see another elite guy like Ben Johnson come into your offensive system. Ryan, what if, as opposed to offering Dan Campbell that extension, what if somehow you offered Ben Johnson an extension? Somehow you offer him a pay raise. Somehow you talk to Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, hey, look, Dan, we can extend you in a year or 2, but right now we're trying to keep Ben Johnson what he has in place. I mean, what does he make right now? 1.1?
Probably $1 million.
He's making 1.1. What if you give him another 2 for 2 years?
Yeah, I just don't know how realistic that is. I'd have to see what's the highest
Offensive
coordinator? I would think it would probably be Bieniemy.
Pay in NFL. Vic Fangio, new defensive coordinator, $4.5 million per year.
Yeah, but Vic's worth it. You see what that team is doing with it. But
where's Vic Fangio?
It's a lot
Dolphins.
It's a lot of things that we have not seen happen, and they have.
Wow.
So I'm just saying this could be one of those not weird situations, but first-time situations. We're like, hey, look, Ben Johnson's damn good.
Josh McDaniels had a 4-year annual salary, $4 million a year annual salary in New England to be offensive coordinator. So maybe you're not out of the realm of possibility.
Maybe it's 5. Let's not act like the Ford family is broke. Maybe
you bust up the head coach and you bring up your offensive coordinator.
100%. Because at the end, if I
didn't consider that.
If I got Dan Campbell sitting across from me at a dinner table and he's telling me, hey, say, look, I talked to Sheila like $5 million. Can you stay with us for 2 years? 2 years at $5 million.
What about $8 million and $4 million? $8 million for Dan Campbell, $4 million for. But then what are you going to do with AG?
Tell them you start stopping some people from getting in the end zone, and we'll talk. You keep some people out the end zone, and we'll have a conversation.
All right. Here's more of Baldy talking about that Lions offensive line.
Oh, he loves that line.
Yeah.
Let's watch this machine that is known as the Detroit Lion offensive line go to work. Laporta, Sewell, Glasgow, Ragnow, Jackson. Look at this movement right here. Like David Montgomery, he's got space. He's got room. 4th and 5, you watch Jahmyr Gibbs right here. Excellent job here with Glasgow and Ragnow and Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown. One man to beat. And Gibbs just hits the Jets to turn the corner. And then you get this right here. Like it's the same play going the other direction. Here comes Laporta doubling with Brock Wright. And you get this kind of movement. Guys just kind of falling. And then you get the big play. They got a 35-yard run and they got a 75-yard touchdown run. Look at this left side with Decker and Jackson caving it in. Look at that gash. Now, pick up a block from Amon-Ra St. Brown, and here comes J-Mo. And that speed, running interference on Derwin James and Asante Samuel, and Montgomery goes to the house. And then when you get down to the 5-yard line, you just get this right here. Like, nobody has this, where you just create this kind of softness. Right? And then you get down to the 1, and you get this from Penei Sewell. Just stack and then just cave in the whole side and let Jahmyr Gibbs go for a touchdown. Ran for 200 yards. The group is really good up front.
Just look at the dominance of when you were talking about Penei Sewell, and I got to give Neil some credit. Penei has been balling. Like, let's look at how he had Joey Bosa just going, turning anywhere, put him exactly where he wanted to go. You don't have to manhandle somebody always in the NFL. A lot of times with the elite left tackles, right tackles, what they figure out, use people's energy against them, and that's what you saw on the first play they showed. The second play they showed, excuse me. The first play they showed, or the last play, it reminded me of that K9 situation, or what Michigan and Michigan State, where K9, a lot of cuts backwards, a lot of counters, and he went to the house. But that was designed how they did theirs. A lot of movements going to the right in that game. You saw a lot of movement. You saw the Jahmyr Gibbs play go that way. You saw the first run go that way, the second run go that way. When they applaud the David Montgomery run, still same action, same way, and now he's able to counter to go back against the grain, and everybody's moving this way, and all he has to be is one man, and he shook that guy up in the hole. So he's getting a lot of movement by these offensive linemen, and these guys can move. Taylor Decker is obviously back healthy because he looked good in the game as well. So getting offensive linemen that can move, it lets you do a lot from the offensive coordinating perspective because you can add a lot more plays because you got guys that can move in and out. So Ben Johnson is utilizing these players they have, and they were great draft picks for this reason.
Not only do you have to win this year for the reason I gave you, because Ben Johnson might leave, and everything looks great right now. And last year, it would have been great for them to make the playoffs because I think they would have made a deep run. Yeah. But another reason is you're going to have to start paying guys. Do you really want to lose Jonah Jackson? Do you? Because you can't pay everybody. You want to pay your quarterback, but you can't pay everybody. There's only so many rookie deals that are still alive. Colby Sorsdahl was drafted. Hopefully he's going to turn out to be a good plug-and-play guy. But you got to pay guys. That's why this year it is so imperative that you take it off the sheet, as we say in bowling. You got to run it all the way here. You got to give it your best opportunity. This is the chance to win the Super Bowl for the Detroit Lions.
And the NFC won't be this week forever.
No. They're all getting new influx of quarterbacks.
The NFC is about as weak as you will see any conference. It does appear top-heavy. I mean, you've got, the Philadelphia Eagles, the San Francisco 49ers, and that's it. And those aren't like these unbeatable, dominant teams. I mean, yes, they are good. Any team that is able to go to the Super Bowl is going to be a really good football team, but they're not the 89 49ers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're beatable. At the end of the day, you look at the 49ers. Brock Purdy's their quarterback. We saw when everything wasn't perfect, meaning Deebo Samuel wasn't there. But when everything
Trent
Williams. Well, how can I forget? Thank you, Matt. Trent Williams is not your left tackle. Deebo Samuel is not your elite playmaker at the wide receiver position. They struggled. Brock Purdy struggled. Brock Purdy struggled a lot. So they're a beatable team. Brock Purdy is not even the fifth best player on his offensive side of the ball. They're a beatable team. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not the same offense since Shane Steichen left. Listen, they're a damn good football team, but what do now? They beat you up now. Yep. That's why they keep adding off defensive linemen.
They run it down your throat.
They run the ball a lot. They beat you up at the point of attack. And then at the end of the game, the defense, they send them in there, and now they're sending ringers. All right, time to close these games out. They beat you up. They're beatable. They're very beatable because they try to beat you up. So I think both those teams, I agree with you, Ryan, they are beatable. 49ers had a great game last weekend, not taking anything against them. It was against the Jaguars, who had won 5 in a row. So it was a great game plan. But Brock Purdy is the catalyst that you can get after. And then against the Eagles, how healthy is Jalen Hurts? How good is that offense? They don't have Miles Sanders to run the ball as well. Don't forget, Miles Sanders had 12,000. He had 1,250 last year and 12 touchdowns. That is a lot to take off the board. So we'll see.
No doubt. Guys, we'll go around the NFL. We'll do it next. But first, a message from the Hamlin Pub.
Have you ever wanted a bar where you are a regular? We have just the place for you. Visit Hamlin Pub, and there's 7 locations, an experience where everyone is a regular. Whether you're enjoying half-off pizza on Thursdays or game day specials on all Michigan and NFL games, you can do just that with the Hamlin Pub. Visit a location today and experience your new favorite pub for all things sports.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists, and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Hey gang, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan and Braylon and Edwards. Thanks for spending some time with us along with Tom Mazaway. It is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Can't beat this weather.
Gorgeous.
Want to remind everybody, if you are watching on YouTube, please hit the like button for us. Helps YouTube push our content out to more people. Coming up on 56,000 subscribers as we head to 60,000 subscribers here on this platform. Let's see if we get to 100K by the Super Bowl. Let's double what we've done. How about that?
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be something?
Awesome.
All right, Tom Mazaway, let's go around the NFL.
Well, if our Lions are in the Super Bowl, that should be an easy thing to do. I want to stay with the Lions. A couple things. I got a couple of sound bites for you from Dan Campbell. Guys, there was one turnover in the game on Sunday, and it was by Kirby Joseph, right? And you kind of look at it and say, it was no big deal. But Dan Campbell said, that actually won the game for us.
the end of the day, the positive was we got the one takeaway that changed the game. We won by a possession, and that was defensively. We ended up +1 in the turnover ratio. That was huge. We got pressure in his face with Alex, and Kirby comes away with a big interception, and that proved to be the difference in the game. Nobody knew it would be in the first quarter, but it was.
Yeah, you ever think about it that way?
Yes.
Did you?
I do.
I don't think about it that way.
I do think about it that way because I think the decision to do the fake punt in the first series of the Kansas City game
that changed the whole year.
Won the game for them.
Changed the whole year.
That decision. They went down. They scored a touchdown later in that drive. It did change that game. It was the decision maker, deciding factor in that game, and maybe even the year, as you said.
Yeah, it's first series of the game, it can decide a play. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, Michigan Big Ten Championship, they play against Iowa, right? Iowa, all they do is run up. Speak of the devil, Sam Laporta was there. All they do is throw the ball to Sam Laporta and run the ball, correct?
Yep.
Well, Iowa tried a trick, but they said try two trick plays on the first series. Remember when the running back was wide open in the end zone?
Oh, yeah.
And the quarterback threw the ball out of bounds? That was it for me. I mean, obviously, I think Michigan's a better team.
Yeah.
But that ended it for Iowa. Iowa, after that play, they were done the rest of the game because it's demoralizing sometimes. So it doesn't matter if
They
it's
called their
first,
shot
second.
there.
They called their shot. They didn't get their shot, and they knew they wouldn't get another one. So sometimes the first, second quarter, you can have that play that you're like, that's the play. Watch.
We didn't get a chance to talk about Iowa and Rutgers. The lowest over-under
talk about them
before the game. It was 27.5. That was what the over-under was. That's the lowest in the history of sports gambling.
Wow.
And they went under. The final score was 21-0.
Knew it.
Isn't that something? You had to bet the under.
How did Rutgers not score a point
I don't know.
in a college football game?
I don't know.
Because Iowa had their signals.
There you go.
I mean, how do you not score 1 point in a college football game when the clock stops as much as it does? And you got, all of these advantages for offense.
Because you're worried about other things as opposed to worrying about your institution.
There you go.
That's why. Because Rutgers is so focused on somebody else. No need to name names, that he can't coach his team and get his guys to focus on winning. 3 points. Is that too much to ask for?
Well said.
Focus on yourself.
Did you see that quarterback is transferring? Petros or whatever entered the transfer portal.
Oh, yeah.
Because Cade McNamara is coming back next year.
Oh, Cade.
Yeah, Cade.
Cade's got to get that gig.
Did he tear his ACL this year?
Yeah, he's out for the year, and so is Eric Hall. Both Michigan kids that transferred out for the season. Tonight you got Bowling Green and Toledo, by the way.
Can I just say this about that? Now, I've covered this. I worked at my second job in television was in Toledo.
I threw that out for Spivak.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Pete. My second job in TV was in Toledo. There aren't too many rivalries as big as Toledo and Bowling Green. The fact that it's played on a Tuesday night is a travesty. This game should not be played tonight at all. It's a shame.
Yeah.
You are destroying a rivalry. ESPN is destroying Mid-American Conference rivalries. You've got Central and Western playing, and that's a great rivalry. Aside from Michigan and Ohio State, honestly, you won't find a bigger rivalry than Toledo and Bowling Green. It might even be bigger than Michigan and Ohio State in their own little world.
What?
Let me tell you about dude, I'm telling you, this is a huge rivalry, and they're closer. They are so close to each other. They're like 15 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, maybe the strongest rivalry for those 12,000 people involved.
But it's a great rivalry.
Oh, it is. Josh Harris.
Right. It's a great rivalry in college football, and ESPN is ruining it. That's it on a Tuesday night.
What game? Okay, what
It's
day?
because they want you to watch the WNBA on the
What
weekend.
day would you put the game on?
Saturday afternoon.
Oh, you put Saturday
And
afternoon?
whether you're going to put it on ESPN or not, put it on ESPN Plus, whatever the case may be. Ruining the tradition.
Scott Loeffler said he talked to Coach Candle at Toledo, and they both agree it should be a Saturday night game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yep. Thanks,
How
Pete.
about that?
I want to. Scott Loeffler, man. Loeffler's funny, man. He was my OC my last year. Terry Malone went to the NFL, so he did my last year. And he was telling us about the last time he did the Naked Mile. The Naked Mile used to be huge. I know you know.
Oh,
Naked
I know.
Mile
That's how I
used to
got
be
my
huge.
job.
So,
Were you naked?
No.
Okay.
He was telling me about, because I think, we were talking about helping another player out, did something stupid. He was like, look, stupid stuff happens all the time. I used to run the naked mile. I ran it drunk, and Lower got mad. Only got mad because he caught a photo of me, running it. But he was a wild dude. But you're talking about somebody that was ahead of his time as opposed to offensive coordinator. He knew what he was doing. Like, if we would have had him as an offensive coordinator in 2003 when we played USC. Hey,
You want a sneaky good winner tonight?
Sure.
Bowling Green plus 10.
What's
The rivalry is it's such a rivalry.
Yeah.
It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a close. Toledo's 9-1, having a great year. I love Toledo. I love both these schools, actually. I love both of them.
Chester Taylor?
Urban Meyer was the coach at Bowling Green when I was down there covering Bowling Green.
What'd you call him?
Mr. Coach Mayer.
Coach Mayer.
Yeah. I didn't know. I had no idea who it was. He didn't particularly care for that.
I didn't think so.
No, but Bowling Green plus 10 is your lock of the night.
All right, I like that.
Where's the game at?
At Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Right off the freeway.
It's not at the Glass Bowl.
It's not at the Glass. I think it's at Bowling Green. I'd have to look at
It
that.
is. It is. I was supposed to go to the game with Pete tonight.
Really? Are you guys going?
I was going to go, but I got Maddie's volleyball banquet.
Oh, dang.
So and it would have been a great night, too.
Oh, what a great night
Gorgeous
to go to a
night.
football game.
Gorgeous. Yeah. Hey, I got another Dan Campbell for you guys before we take a break here.
Sure.
Braylon, we always talk about these
3
Lion
minutes.
wide receivers, how they block.
Yeah.
That's how you get on the field, right? Dan Campbell says that's just what we do here in Detroit.
I believe that's the standard in the room, though, as well. I mean, that all of those guys are that way. I can tell you all 3 of them between Saint, Leaf, and Reynolds is where it all starts. And J-Mo is just, man, he's part of it. And look, he's never been shy about hitting somebody and trying to end the run game. You saw that in college. So I think that's the standard here. I say it all the time. You want a physical you want to be known as a physical team, your receivers have to block in the run game and your corners have to tackle on defense. And we do that. We do that here. So I think it's a rite of passage, and they showed up. They showed up big. We talked about not only making your plays in the pass game, executing, being productive, but, man, we wanted physical dominance from the perimeter, and I thought all those receivers really showed up.
When I started playing at Michigan, how I really got on the field, my freshman year, Eric Soup Campbell used to all go Bowling Green. He's at Bowling Green now. See, boy, why you don't block nobody? Why you see, man, you don't block, you can't get on the field for me. So I literally, you couldn't get on the field if you blocked. So I started learning to love to block. And then when you get in the NFL, I'm coming from Michigan. This is 4 years of blocking at Michigan. Now I love Michigan. Me and Jason Avant used to wear cats out on the defensive side. Pause. So when I got in the NFL,
pause.
The coaches love the blocking. The players love the blocking. When I got to Rex, by that time, I don't care what type of touchdowns you catch or what type of touchdowns you run in. When they see you lay somebody out, when they see you just destroy somebody, when they see the physicality, man, Coach Rex used to come to me all the time. He said, "Hey, boy, I saw you block that boy, baby." I'm like, what about that 190 I had in the game? He was I like the blocking. But also it keeps you in the game. Because there are going to be games where it's going to be a runner's game. When I first got to the Jets, Thomas Jones and Sean, all we did was run the ball because they didn't want Mark to throw interceptions.
Yes.
All we did was run the ball. So to keep myself in the game, you just lay people out, you just block people, you just be physical. And it keeps you in the game for when they do want to throw you that one pass. Remember T.O. dropped that game when the touchdown when he was with the Cowboy? He said, "Hey, man, if they would have kept me involved in the first quarter, I wouldn't have dropped it in the fourth quarter." It keeps you involved in the game, and it's fun, and everybody respects you when you block.
Point about we always bring up the JMO blocking,
Yes.
right? And the reason why you bring it up is because it just speaks to a larger picture.
Yeah, it does.
You know what it tells me?
Effort.
It tells me you're not a selfish guy. It tells me you're willing to sell out for your teammates. It tells me that you're a team guy.
Yeah.
And you're a wide receiver, you're supposed to catch the ball. But most people don't see all the little intricacies that you do as a wide receiver that really help your team win. A lot of guys are good route runners, but we don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see, what a great route there when you didn't catch the ball. I'm not seeing that.
It's true.
It's not. But if you're running down the field with the guy next to you, he's got the ball, and you make that block to spring him, that's why you talk about that, because when you block, it speaks to who you are as a teammate. At least that's what I think.
Hey, before you say body language, rules. Now, Gino Auriemma, one of the greatest coaches. Yeah, I know he coaches women's basketball.
He's a coach.
UConn. He's one of the greatest coaches ever. He says body language means everything. You got bad body language, you're not getting on the court. Same thing here. J-Mo, so good with interviews. So bright and happy. Sweet guy.
Yeah.
Then he kicks ass on blocking.
Yep.
And he's jumping up and down with his teammates. That kid's got it.
You can't act like that at Alabama because you know what? There's 3 guys on the bench that are probably better than you. There's a running back that's probably going to draft in the first round too. There's a defense that's way better than anybody on that offense. You can't have that attitude at Alabama, and Nick Saban is not going for it. So he comes from that. He comes from a great coach, and he comes from a system where we're all selling out because at the end of the day, when everybody wins, when you win, everybody wins. They win national titles, everybody gets drafted in the first round. So he comes from that system.
Guys, let's get a message from Planet Fitness, and we'll come back and continue to go around the NFL. Having a lot of fun here on a Tuesday. Thanks to everybody who are watching on YouTube. Continue to watch. 60 seconds. We'll be right back. But first, here's Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you will experience a squeaky clean gym and has a ton of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in the Metro Detroit area and thousands more throughout the world. Find your local Planet Fitness today to join or visit them online at planetfitness.com. Planetfitness.com, where your fitness is essential.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White and Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Hey guys, when it comes to your pet, do not settle. Give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supply, hands down, Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years, 13 Metro Detroit locations, and they got over 60 brands of food at the lowest prices available. Curbside delivery even, if you like it. That's how good their customer service is. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Check them out online at premierpetsupply.com.
Hey, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network, having a little fun, talking a little football. Let's go back to you, man.
All right, guys, I got our NFC and AFC playoff preview. First, let's put up the NFC playoff preview. The Lions still sitting at number 2, Ryan. There they are.
Well, look, and this is what this season is about. The Philadelphia Eagles have a tough one on Monday Night Football this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. So by the end of this week in the NFL, you could be tied for that top seed in the NFL after week 10, after week 11, I should say. And Braylon, you just continue to put those W's together. Plenty of time to talk about the Bears, but you are a 9-point favorite. Detroit should get that W against Chicago. And, man, Philadelphia, look, They got a tough schedule. They got to lose one of these here, don't they?
Yeah, they got a tough schedule coming up, man. You know, obviously they got to play the Cowboys again. I think they play the 49ers as well. I think they play the Chiefs as well. That is a mean gauntlet, especially at this time of year with those teams playing really as good as they're playing. You don't know what's going to happen. Right now, your job is to focus on, just like I told the Rutgers coach, your job is to focus on your stuff. Dan Campbell needs to focus on their teams, their games. It's a 1-week season now. Like, every game is a 1-week season. Right now, Chicago Bears. The next week, it's the Green Bay Packers. The next week, insert team here. Focus on these teams. The schedule is going to play itself out how it plays itself out. All you do is control the teams in front of you. And if they control the teams in front of them, they can be in a really good spot when you get to January, first week of January.
Again, we bring it up. You do not really want to play the Vikings 3 times inside of 4 weeks. So if a 2 versus a 7, that's who you're going to get right now as it sits. Now in the AFC, number 1 seed is 7-2 Kansas City. The number 7 seed is the Houston Texans all of a sudden. How about that?
Bring go on the Texans. I am just stunned at the Texans.
Yeah, I was going to start with the number 1, but you know what? We can start with 7. The Houston Texans, who knew that C.J. Stroud was going to be this efficient, this good? Look, he's got some good wide receivers, but you're talking about a guy that's playing for a team that was number 2 pick. They picked number 2 this year, and they're rolling teams. They beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. They beat who was the other team they beat? The other major team, other big win team.
The Chiefs?
They beat the Chiefs in the Chiefs. They beat the Bengals in the Bengals.
Yeah.
And then they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Those are 3 really big wins for this team, man. And C.J. Stroud and DeMeco Ryans, they are, and Slowick, that doggone offensive coordinator, Slowick for the Texans, they are getting it done. They're getting it done.
And it also proves the Texans, too, are an interesting story because they go against everything that I believe.
Defensive coach.
A defensive coach
Ohio
with a rookie
State
quarterback. No,
Yeah.
not even an Ohio State quarterback. Just if you're going to take a quarterback with a top 5 pick, top 2 pick, you would think you would want to match him up with an offensive coach. And to hire a defensive coordinator and pick an offensive play, a quarterback number 2, just goes against everything I believe, and it just goes to show you there's more than one way to skin a cat.
There's definitely more ways to skin a cat. Another thing that AFC side showed me with Kansas City being number 1 is that water always finds its level. Kansas City found its way back to the number 1 seed. And the crazy thing is things evolve. Kansas City is the number 1 team in the AFC, but it's not because of that offense. It's not because of Patrick Mahomes. It's because of how good that defense is. Now, don't get it twisted. Patrick Mahomes is still the guy. But that defense is the best defense that he's ever been on, man. And they're all young guys. They're all guys that are 2 and 3 years.
They are. But they just don't scare me as much.
No, they don't scare me, but I'm just giving them credit for being able to evolve and adapt. No Tyreek Hill, no Travis Kelce early. Can't have a receiver catch anything. And they're still number 1. But going back to that NFC bracket, isn't it funny how much the Dallas Cowboys legitimately fear the San Francisco 49ers, and they just consistently become a thorn in that side? Because did you see who's going to play each other if it started today? The Dallas Cowboys have to go to San Francisco for the 3rd time in a row. They are a thorn in their side like no other.
They're going to beat them one of these times, though. And right now, Dak Prescott is playing his best football.
Can we talk about something? Can we stop doing this as people?
Go ahead.
Can we stop going up and down each week depending on the teams they play? When Dak plays against the Giants, it's, oh my God, Dak Prescott, he's the best quarterback. Then he plays a real team, and it's like, all right, water's back to level. Then he plays the Giants again, and it's like, see, that doggone Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is now in the MVP race, according to Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott ain't even the best player on his offensive side. He did have a good game against the Eagles, I will give you that, but I'm not putting much stock in the Giants.
Dak Prescott is like 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins. If Dak Prescott could play every game at home, he'd be the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. If Kirk Cousins could play every game at 1 o'clock, he too would be in that conversation. But then there's primetime Kirk Cousins and away Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Those 2 players are so similar to me. It's not even funny.
I will give Matt
a good point.
I will give Matt some credit on that one though, because he did go to. They lost in Philly, but he did go up there and he did play well. He played well on the road. You got to give him some love in that game, so I can't negate that. He had some plays in there, but overall he played really good in that game. So I give you credit for that.
I'm going to give you guys 2 quarterbacks. Tell me who you'd prefer to have. Josh Dobbs, Zach Wilson.
Josh Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs is not even a question.
Look at the stat. In 2 games, Josh Dobbs has the equal amount of touchdowns that Zach Wilson has all year.
I didn't even need to see that stat. You just go by the eyeball test.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is not even a backup quarterback in the NFL. It's just that clear. I think it's even more clear than that statement. He just can't play. He just can't play. Now, I don't know all the arm strength and the exit
got a lot of arm.
The spin rate on the football, and he could toss the cannon. Zach Wilson cannot play in the NFL, period.
Somebody said something that was very interesting. If you look at the Zach Wilson quarterback draft, that's the COVID quarterback draft. There's a lot of misses in that quarterback draft. I understand there's misses always in first-round quarterbacks. There's always a couple, but that whole draft seems to be a miss, and that's that COVID draft. Doesn't seem like a lot of people were doing a lot of scouting. It was like,
And again, Josh Dobbs, you take for granted here. You know, if Arizona was serving him up, it is malfeasance.
What does Minnesota do with Josh Dobbs this offseason?
The New York Jets did not place a call to try to get him on the roster.
And that goes what I talk about. You're not using aim for effect. That ain't Robert Sala's fault.
Right.
What do you do with Josh Dobbs, man, Ryan, if you're Minnesota Vikings?
You keep him.
Yeah.
You keep him. He don't cost anything.
I mean, again, if you're trying to re-sign, he's a perfect quarterback.
They're not going to re-sign Cousins.
No.
Cousins is going to be somewhere else.
Just see what happens here. You know, if it looks like he fades at the end of the season, you don't have to do anything. If it looks like he fades at the end of the season, I think Minnesota is in the worst spot you could possibly be
100%
in the NFL, to be honest with you. You're going to win too many games to take a quarterback, and you're not good enough to win the Super Bowl.
And that quarterback isn't good enough in the long run to be the guy you want to build the franchise with.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's a tough
I think
spot.
Minnesota is in a terrible spot. I'd rather be Chicago than Minnesota.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'd rather be Green Bay than Minnesota.
I don't know about that one.
I would.
I'm messing with you.
I think if you're winning 8-9 games, that's not where you want to be with not a franchise quarterback. And maybe he could be like a Geno Smith type guy, this guy that's bounced around his whole career. He's been a backup his whole career, and then all of a sudden gets his shot and then pops.
Are you confident in Matt LaFleur?
He's smart.
Can I reserve judgment? Listen, here's the deal, Braylon. Here's the deal with Matt LaFleur. If you've got, and this is any coach in the NFL, if you've got a good quarterback, you're going to win games. If you don't have a good quarterback, you're going to lose games. If Aaron Rodgers was the coach, was the quarterback of the New York Jets, we would talk a lot differently about Robert Saleh than we're talking about him now.
Right.
Robert Saleh would be God's gift to coaching if Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback. So I reserve in Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. That highlights my point on that. So Matt LaFleur, if you give him a quarterback, he'll be a good coach. If you don't give him a good quarterback, he'll win 6 games.
Okay.
Just like Bill Belichick is no different, right? I mean, it's very simple. Guys, last break. Come right back. And this team is going to be really good this year. I'll tell you who that is next. But first, a message from Mark White.
When buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty at all? That is exactly what Mark White and Associates is offering. It's called their minute-by-minute listing agreement by Mark White and Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. That number again, 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
By now you know me, Christina Schnari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink for Bullseye Event Group Company. Get tickets today for the Lions VIP tailgate. It is a thing of, it's a lot of fun. You come downtown, it starts at 9:30, it goes until 1, stops when game starts. But man, you got food, drinks, it's an amazing time. Kick it with the people. Come on down, get on the show. Woodward Sports, hang out, have a good time. And it's the place to be. Shed 5, Eastern Market. The energy is just amazing. And look at the weather. Look at the temperature. So you're going to get a good November game. Come down, watch the Bears this week. It's going to be fun. Lions VIP tailgate. You never know who you'll see. Bullseye Event Group Company.
Guys, I broke a rule last night of not watching college basketball until March. Boy, are the Michigan Wolverines exciting.
3-0.
They're 3-0. They scored over 90 points in the first 2 games. Last night dropped 89 against Rick Pitino's St. John's Red Storm at the Garden.
We just call them the Johnnies.
The Johnnies. They have won their last 11 games at Madison Square Garden.
How great a home court is that?
And I'll tell you this much, man. They're just a fun watch. The way Michigan plays basketball, this team was picked 11th in the Big Ten. They're going to finish in the top 3. That's how good this Michigan basketball team is. I fully believe that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I haven't watched them play yet this year. After listening to you, I'm excited to get a chance to see what they can do. I think Michigan definitely needs some cheering up after last season. But, sometimes you need a reset. Sometimes you need to come close to, things going off the rails and going awry. Coach Juwan Howard hasn't had the type of years the last 2 years that he would want to have, especially in the regular season both years. So sometimes you need that reset. And it seems like they did something in the offseason to get these guys going, and they changed the way they play the game, and it's working for these guys. So shout out to Jay Howard.
Big doubleheader tonight in the State Farm Champions Classic. MSU taking on, who are we getting? Duke tonight. So that's 18 versus 9. Then the nightcap is KU and UK, number 1 versus number 17. That's always a good time if you want to watch that. That is on ESPN, and then the mothership's got that. And then, of course, Bowling Green, Toledo, or whoever they put on ESPN2 will be the MAC game.
Yeah.
Every time I hear KU now, all I can think about is the fact that they had sanctions filed on them in 2019, still won the national championship in 2022, and everything was finalized after they won the national championship for their institution. You know what that's called? That's called due process.
Hey, no doubt about it. This is a loss, what, 8 in a row? Kool-Aid or 9 in a row?
8 in a row.
They've lost 8 in a row. They get Atlanta tonight. You'll be there, right?
Yeah, I will. No Trae Young tonight. So, he had a baby. Shout out to him, man. Congratulations to him and his family. But I'm hoping that the Pistons give him an unwelcome gift.
Man, they suck.
Speaking of basketball.
It is a tough watch. I'm sorry.
Speaking of basketball.
Sorry.
And this is not a highlight, this sucks. Ryan, Maz, and Kool-Aid. This could have been the best pass I've ever seen in my life.
Let's see.
Best pass. It could be. I'm just throwing it out there. Parker, do me a favor. Set that highlight up for me. You see if you agree.
Vucevic to taps. Levine the loose ball. Beautiful feed to Vuce. It's blocked by Lopez. DeRozan gets it back. Spins. Passes. White. 3. Go!
Oh my God. 360 spin.
To a 180. 362 or the full 180. 362 or 125. Throw the ball in the opposite corner.
That's a 485.
Trust me, there's a lot of plays, and we had to go back and watch it. Kool-Aid, what'd you think about the highlight? You want to see it again, don't you?
Yeah,
hit it one more time for us, Parker. Hit it one more time. I'm just saying, he's coming down, layup. Yeah. This is tough, bro.
Oh, man.
When you see the players on the bench react, I didn't know Andre Drummond was still in the NBA until this play.
He is?
Yeah, he's on the bench. Watch him get up. That's him dancing on the sideline. On the baseline.
Andre Drummond.
on the money, man. Right in the pocket, like right to the shooter where he could just catch it in rhythm and splash.
He's one of the most underrated players, man, in the last 25 years in terms of how good he really is. And I still can't believe how that thing played. Well, they won the title, so I guess it worked out for the Raptors, but that was kind of shady how that thing played out.
All right, great effort today, guys. What a show.
Hey, Wings are in Sweden, by the way.
Ooh, oh, yeah, Sweden.
They'll play the next 2 days.
Stockholm.
Afternoon games. Well, we're on.
Look at that.
The Red Wings will be on.
Can't wait for that.
I know you can.
All right.
We'll be the only show in town.
Get us out of here, Bray.
All right, man. Great show by you guys, man. More Jim Harbaugh stuff, more Lion stuff. You know how it is, man. It's the best show in town. It's the best place to come to get all your information, whether it's the Tigers, the Lions, the Pistons, the Red Wings. Doesn't matter. What sports, we do it all. Appreciate you today, Kool-Aid. For my man Tom Mazaway, Uncle on the couch, you got Parker over here driving the show, and Ryan Ermanni. You are the man. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Go Blue.